like every day and every week by knowing what you're grateful for. So that really helps me to just put into mind what I'm grateful for. And it just helps me find a place of energy so I can keep bringing myself every single day to help others and just keep going.
Yeah, well said.
I think all of us being here is an example of going above and beyond, right? Because we're trying to be the best version of ourselves. And if we're learning to meditate, that kind of helps us to have a calmer mind and, you know, be really better and calmer and more organized in every other area of our life. So I think we're all going above and beyond by kind of being here right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes the idea of going above and beyond can sound like you have to do something so big. And I think sometimes it's even something really small that you can do for someone to make their day. So you can go above and beyond in small ways.
Oh, I love that.
Very true. Very true. Betsy, I think that hat is above and beyond. That thing's awesome.
She's got the best hat collection.
All right, so why don't we jump into our webinar today? We're going to be talking about meditation. This is really exciting for Caitlin and Rob and me. Very excited to be talking about this with everybody. And, you know, with it being almost November, you know, we've got an election coming up in a week. We've got the holidays. We've got more holidays. It can be a very stressful time. So when Caitlin and I were talking about, you know, the next health challenge that we wanted to do, we thought that now was the perfect opportunity to do a meditation challenge. And so, you know, with all these challenges, we try to tie it into some type of education and learning opportunity to, you know, help people who are participating in the challenge better able to succeed. So, you know, I'm really excited. Meditation for me, it's something that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and I know that it's been, you know, very, very beneficial and transformative for me. And so, you know, when Caitlin, Rob, and me talked about it, we were just really excited to do this today. And also, for those of you who haven't met Rob, Rob is our Director of Leadership Development. He's been at the company now a couple months. So, you know, when Rob was coming on board, we felt like there would definitely be opportunities for him and Caitlin to collaborate on something. So, you know, the three of us really worked together on this. So we're really excited. So with that, Rob, Caitlin, before I jump in, any other thoughts?
Well, hello, everybody. I know some people on this call, so it's good to see everybody. I'm scrolling through the pictures and I see the names. I do have a question. Do you want this recorded?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I was going to start right when we jumped into the, but it looks like we're already going, so that's good.
Yeah, sorry, I already started it.
All good.
Right on.
All good. All right, so I'm
ahead of the game.
I am going to share my screen, and then I am also going to, actually, well, I'll keep the lines unmuted because there's no feedback anyway. So meditation. So meditation is something that, you know, over the last couple of years has gained a lot more steam, whether it's in articles or the media or culture. People are talking about it more, people are doing it more. And, you know, we won't dive super deep into the benefits. Obviously, everybody here is on the call, so you're obviously, you know, curious about it or have heard or read about the benefits. And, you know, it's all the things that you've read. It can lead to, you know, reduced stress and anxiety, increased presence and mindfulness, the ability to better regulate emotions, and overall, and I can't remember if this was Caitlin or Rob, can just help us have better mental fitness and hygiene. So, you know, the same way you know, maybe hit the gym for, you know, 30 minutes, you know, a day or, you know, every couple of days. Meditation can be the same thing, but for your mind. And as we go forward, though, the one thing that I think is really important to share, and I've found this in my meditation experience, and the more I've read about it and talked about it with other people who meditate a lot, meditation, it doesn't mean you're going to be just peaceful and happy and zen and blissed out at all times. I think that's one of the common misconceptions, that it's not like just some magic pill that you can take and, oh, all of a sudden I'm going to be all happy all the time, because you know, that's not life, you know. But what meditation does is it trains us to be more present and mindful. So, you know, and that means, you know, present to our environment, our thoughts, our emotions, even our physical body. There's a lot throughout the day that distracts us from, you know, fully experiencing life. So how I think it's better said is that what, you know, meditation isn't is, you know, just peace and happiness all the time. But what it is an invitation to experience more of life. And, you know, the reality is that life isn't always great. It's, you know, complicated, it's messy, it's ups, it's downs, it's unexpected things. And the opportunity to be more present for all of those things, sometimes even especially the bad things, can lead to the most growth for us. So being really more mindful and present through it all, I think is a gift. And if you're going to, you know, start on a meditation journey and build a habit, I think it's an important thing to go in with, because it was a great article I read one time, and then the title of the article was, "If mindfulness is making you uncomfortable, it's working," which means that you shouldn't go into it and think, man, I've been meditating every day for a month and I'm not happy. I'm actually more uncomfortable. You know, sometimes that just means that you're just more present with what is. And I think a lot of times it's very easy for all of us to either check out or avoid things that are uncomfortable. But, you know, the beauty again is that once you are, you know, able to be with those things and be present to them and work with them, that's where our growth can happen. So it's kind of almost like a little paradox, but, you know, I think at the end of the day, it is a gift. So Caitlin, Robin, any, you know, thoughts or on those comments?
Yeah, I read something and it was talking about how easy it is for you to like sit on your phone and like scroll through social media or emails or something like that. But to be present in your mind and sit and just be with yourself is so difficult. And I think that's the beauty of it, right? So it is hard. Like I tell you guys, you, Kevin, Rob, you guys know, I'm like, man, if I can meditate for like 3 minutes, I'm so proud of myself. Whereas like Rob, he's up to 45 minutes a day, or that's what you're working on. And that's like goals for me. But, you know, I think that's the beauty of it is that we do not give ourselves this time to just focus in our brain and harness that power of meditation. And that's why it's something that, you know, I'm really excited to work on this month, because it's easy to kind of just push it to the side and, you know, not necessarily see it as important. But we need to take the time to focus on ourselves and, you know, kind of relax our minds in that way.
I will put forward the average human mind has, I think it's like something like 6,000 thoughts a day. And so meditation helps you step back and observe your thoughts, can give greater equanimity. And it's really interesting because over time, I have found, you know, most of those thoughts are thinking about the past, like worrying about something that can't be changed, or worrying about something in the future that hasn't even happened yet, may never happen. And so mindfulness is really, you can't.
Oh, I think Rob froze.
Asset as human beings, but it's to train your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is meditation exactly? Because, you know, you may have tried it, you may have read about it, and there are a lot of ways to do it. So what I'd like us to all do is actually, I'd like us to meditate together for 1 minute. Okay, and I forgot my phone outside, so I'm not even going to be able to time it. But what we're going to do is we're going to meditate. Oh, no, it's right here. We're going to meditate together for 1 minute. I'm going to set the timer, and this is all you have to do, okay? All you have to do is sit up straight, and I'm setting the timer here. All you have to do is sit up straight, close your eyes, and all you have to do is breathe. And if you start to have thoughts, or thoughts start to come into your mind, as soon as you notice, just return to your breath. The focus of breathing in and out, maybe the physical sensations of air coming into your nostrils or into your belly. And whenever you notice that you've drifted, just come back, all right? So we're going to start now. As soon as you notice yourself wondering a thought, just focus on your breathing. You can't do meditation wrong, so you don't have to ask, am I doing it right? And that was it. That was 1 minute. Didn't even feel like it. That flew by. Anybody want to share their experience?
I'll share mine, Kevin. So during that minute, my mind must have wandered too many times. And every time that it did, I just remembered, focus on my breath. And then I started to count my breath and the time that I was taking to time my inhales and my exhalations evenly. And that helped some.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really nice technique. The only thing I would encourage you to maybe tweak in your language is when you said your mind wandered off too many times. The reality is that it's always going to wander off. So whether it happens 1 time or 1,000 times, it's always going to happen. And the key is, again, did you bring it back? Because as long as you brought it back, then you did it, right? So another thing that I heard one time that stuck with me was, anytime your mind wanders, whenever you bring it back, think about that like a repetition. Like if you were lifting weights, it's almost like 1 repetition. So every time you notice and bring it back, you're strengthening that muscle. And again, you can't do it right. You can't do it wrong. You can only just do it. And the other thing that I think is important to remember is, sometimes you'll walk out of a meditation, you might think, oh, that was good or that was bad. But what I would discourage from evaluating the meditation is that it becomes a judgment thing, where it's like, oh, I didn't do good. But, as long as you sit down and you do it and you practice it and you're practicing and you're trying to get better, that's really what counts. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it to, like Rob said, you're training your mind, you're building that muscle to receive those benefits as you go through your day.
Yeah, I think the best part is the concentrating on breathing. Most of us are shallow breathers by nature. So just taking the time to exercise your lungs and get good long inhales and exhales really helps.
Yeah, Ernie, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you brought that up, because breathing is, we could talk for an hour about breathing. I've actually gone to breathing workshops and you just talk about breathing. But to boil it down to a hopefully 2-minute explanation, you have basically 3 places where you breathe. You could breathe here, okay? So if you're sitting and you're hunched over and you're in bad posture, you're probably gonna breathe here. The second place, and I'm gonna tilt my camera down, is here in the middle of your body. And the third place is, and I don't know if you can see, but like your low belly. You wanna be breathing into your low belly. So if you're sitting up straight with good posture, the air can get all the way to the belly. And so just to use an analogy, if somebody was having a panic attack, they're probably going to be like, all the air is right here. So it's just like how some research says, if you just physically smile, you will be happier. It's a similar thing with breathing. If you're breathing up here, your body is going to feel more anxious. Whereas if you're breathing all the way down into your belly button, you're going to be more calm and relaxed in your nervous system. So Ernie, thanks for bringing that up. Anybody else want to share their experience? Anybody?
If I did that for more than 5 minutes, I'd be sound asleep.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times people will have that challenge as I try to meditate and I fall asleep. So
Yep.
I think the important thing there is, again, having good posture, but staying somewhat active in the moment.
Yeah.
And there are a variety of ways to do that. But you definitely don't want to fall asleep, because falling asleep is a good thing if you're trying to fall asleep, but not if you're trying to meditate.
Yeah.
I think for me, I just try to imagine the air like going into my belly button and going like up my spine and then back out my nose and like just rolling over me again and again. And that's like kind of what I try to focus on, to like just like feel that kind of flow. And I don't know, that just makes it like roll better for me. Just imagining it going in that circle. I don't know, that's just like what feels good to
Yeah.
me.
No, that's beautiful, honestly. We're going to talk about visualization in a second, and visualization is a really awesome tool. Yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome. So when it comes to getting the most benefits out of your meditation, because what we did was we just sat for 1 minute and all we did was breathe, and that's great. But there are more tools, things that you can do to get your mind and your body into a more active meditative state, kind of almost like what Joy was referring to. Like, you don't want to just sit down and be so relaxed that you fall asleep. But there are some active things that you can do. Get to that in a second. I just realized I want to hit physical space too. Actually, you know what? Let's come back to that. No, let's not. Let's do it now. All right. So yeah, because it does all relate. So the physical space that you meditate in is important. You know, the beauty of meditation is that you can do it anywhere, but certain spaces are going to be more conducive to meditation than others. So for me, I have like a little, it's literally a closet. And so I go into it, and that's my meditation space. If you're trying to do it in a living room or something like that, it just could present more of a challenge. The other part of the physical space is that it does lead into the mental space, that when you walk into that meditation, you're like going to meditate. It's kind of like when we all started working from home, we said, hey, if you have a designated space in your house that you can work, it's easier because, you know, like Joy, I see you're working in your kitchen right now. It can be a difficult challenge to transition mentally from work to home when you're in the same physical space. So having a dedicated physical space, even if it's a corner of a room, I think is a really big benefit, because it can help you get into the mental space of, I'm going to meditate right now. And I really love this quote. This is from a great spiritual leader. And essentially what she's saying is, when it's time to meditate, well, I'll just read it. When it's time for meditation, let the world recede. Forget everything else. Whatever problems you have, leave them at the door as you enter your place of meditation. Do this consciously. Mentally shrug them off. Feel that you have actually taken hold of them, kind of like Caitlin's visualization, and thrown them out of your consciousness. Feel that you have put up a barrier between yourself and the world. So what she's essentially saying is, when you're going into then that physical space, your mental mindset and your consciousness is, I am coming here to meditate. And whatever thoughts try to come in, they really don't matter, because I've already made the decision that during this time, I am meditating, and that's it. I am just going to breathe. Whatever worries that come up, I'm not going to chase those thoughts. So more practices that, you know, kind of like where I was going before, to get you into that active meditative state. Breathing techniques are, you know, there are many, many breathing techniques out there. I've got a couple here, and we've got a handout as well, and we could practice them right now if anybody wants to. The first is 4x4. So very simple. inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. Again, keeping your posture good, like Vicky was doing earlier, counting her breaths. Any way you want to actively do this, as long as you're not causing yourself discomfort, or if you have issues with breathing or your lungs or other things like that, you might want to just really be careful. But in general, if you're doing inhale for 4, exhale for 4, and it builds lung capacity too. So you guys want to try it? Okay, ready? All right, we're going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. So if you do that, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times, and you're focused on those breaths and counting them, it's a good way. It's a mental training for you. The next two, we don't have to practice these now, but 5 by 5 by 5 is a little bit more of a challenge. So inhaling for 5, holding the breath for 5, and then exhaling for 5. And then 4, 7, 8. This is like one of the ultimate relaxation breathing techniques. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. So and what I also want to stress here is all these things that we're talking about, breathing techniques, we're going to talk about affirmations now, and visualization, which is what Caitlin was referring to. There's no prescription here. You can do any of these things, try them out. Every meditation is a different meditation. So some meditations you want to do breathing techniques, other ones you want to focus on affirmations, another one you want to focus on visualization. These are just tools in your tool belt. You can, and the key is, the right tool for the right situation, right? So affirmations are a really awesome thing. Rob could probably tell us a little bit more about like the psychology that goes into it, but just repeating these things, it really is very powerful for your mind to believe that what you're saying is true. So if you've noticed that you've been very impatient lately, an affirmation like I am patient, any I am in affirmation for something that you're trying to cultivate or trying to work on is great. So instead of saying like I am patient or I am being patient, to say I am patient, this language is more of like an embodiment, like this is what I am, right? I am patient. I don't know, I'm trying to think of like another example of an I am. Maybe you feel like you need a lot of strength to get through a certain situation, and saying I am strength, and saying it over and over again. So the I am is really powerful, or even just a single word. Maybe, I think I might have done these slides when it was listen generously and with patience week. So just repeating the word listen, 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 maybe just helping you become a better listener. And one of the most amazing, most powerful things about affirmations is that whatever you choose, if you choose an affirmation for your day, repeating it throughout the day is really powerful. So if in the morning you meditate, maybe you meditate for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you say an affirmation, remember to come back to it throughout the day. So let's say you chose I am patient. Maybe during the day you're in a stressful situation, or things are really happening, and in your mind you just say I am patient, and it kind of brings you back to that place.
I'll put forward, we're all walking around holding certain thoughts and beliefs. For example, if ever in your career you have been really unhappy in your job, you may have woken up every morning and said, I am really not looking forward to go to work today. Today is going to be a tough day. It's going to be terrible, terrible day, terrible week. And the more you have those thoughts, there's a saying, neurons that fire together or wire together. that begins to be the way you see the world. And so then at work, new opportunities or circumstances or even people you interact with, everything just becomes a pain because that's the way now you have even conditioned yourself to seeing it. And the really good news is, and now researchers know this, that they didn't know before, this concept of neuroplasticity. You can change your thoughts. You can change, you can lay down new pathways in your brain just by flipping the script. So take one thing that you might be saying to yourself and try and flip the script on it. So for example, in the example I gave, if you begin to wake up every day and say, today's gonna be fantastic. I love my job. You might not believe it at first, but after about 60 some days, that's how long it takes to form a new habit, you're literally laying down new pathways in your brain. And I'll say one more thing. Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor, he wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he wrote, I have a quote for you from him. And he said, everything can be taken away from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So there's some real data in science to these ideas, other than just, they feel good. They can really, really change your life and lay down new pathways in your brain.
Yeah, it's very powerful, Rob, and thank you for sharing all that. And another perspective on what Rob's saying is, maybe you have a challenging day ahead of you, or maybe you're going through challenges, whether it's at work or personal, and maybe things really are just sucky and terrible. What we don't have to do is say, no, things are great. If they're not, we can be honest with ourselves and say, things are really a challenge right now, and I have the strength to persevere and get through it. So the language is so important. And what Rob said about, if you think everything, if the thoughts are everything is terrible, that is going to be your lens through which you see the world. But if you can flip it and say, hey, I do have a lot to be grateful for, and yeah, there are challenges, and I have the strength to get through these things and grow as a result of it, that's really a great place to be. And then visualization. So Caitlin touched on it. And again, visualization is very broad. I think it can really be anything that you want to visualize. It can be the meditation itself. And so Caitlin, what she was describing was visualizing the breath, literally rejuvenating her body. And that's very powerful. It may be something that you want to create, something that you want to manifest. Maybe you have a big presentation coming up at work and you want to visualize it going well. And if you visualize every little detail, from how you're going to get dressed and what you're going to wear and how you're going to walk in the building and how you're going to greet everyone when you walk in the building and how you are going to set up for the presentation and what everyone's going to look like and how much enthusiasm you're going to bring to it, and how at the end of it everybody is clapping because you did, you're going to be better prepared to deliver a great presentation. But it doesn't have to be just some event or an occasion. It can be visualized, how you want your day to go. Like I said, maybe it's you walking into work and sitting down, with your coworkers and just being happy and vibrant and energetic. So visualizing what we want is very powerful.
Yeah, this is something I talk to people within health coaching a little bit, right? Because if you can't visualize where you want to be, how are you supposed to get there? How are you supposed to know what steps to take? So we want to have a vision of, what would it feel like? What would it look like? What would it smell like? What type of things would you be doing every day if you were the healthiest version of yourself, right? So this is kind of how meditation and visualization and affirmations all kind of go hand in hand with every other part of your wellness journey or every other part of your life, right? There's a delicate balance to all these things. And that's why I think it's so important that we learn about this now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, there's breathing techniques, there's affirmations, there's visualizations. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is what meditation is, which is the art of doing nothing. You know, just practicing being still. And when you notice that there's any disruption of stillness, coming back, you know, to that breath, to that mantra. And nothing is different for everybody. And I want to stress this word right here, gently come back. You know, I think, you know, one of the most important parts of a meditation practice is the self-compassion. It's very difficult well, it's not very difficult. It's impossible to just be thinking about nothing and breathing infinitely. Like, the mind is going to wander. So, you know, just accepting that now and knowing it's going to happen, whether it happens every 5 seconds, every 15 seconds, every 30 seconds, you know, how you come back to, whether it's the breath or your affirmation or the body senses, how you come back is important, because if you're, you know, beating yourself up over, you let your mind go again, you know, and over time, you're just going to kind of beat yourself up and wear yourself down. So it's important to have that self-compassion for yourself, that it is a challenge. And again, the success is the fact that you noticed and you came back. The noticing and the coming back, that's the practice. So that's a success. Two other quotes that I wanted to share with everybody. This my coach and friend Casey, he has a really good affirmation, and it goes, "I am the sky watching all weather move through me." And it's a really nice affirmation that you can recite while you're meditating. But I also wanted to share it because it's a good analogy for meditation and thoughts. So thoughts are like the weather. You know, it might be clouds, it might be a thunderstorm, or it might be clear skies. But if your mind is the sky, your thoughts are just weather, and they always pass. And the weather isn't the sky; it's just kind of moving through the sky. And another quote that I really like is, you can let again, sort of playing off of the sky analogy, you can let the birds fly around in your head and not let them build a nest in it. So, you know, it's not that the birds are flying or that the thoughts are flying. It's when we chase them and we feed them and we give them attention. That's what allows those things to take root, and it gives life to those things, and allows them to, quote unquote, build a nest in it.
I remember probably March, April, when COVID, you know, hit, which is a legitimate, you know, thing. But I remember days where I felt really anxious, and I was able to draw a correlation between those days and days where I had a lot of news intake. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, I was feeling relatively okay, and then I saw this article about you know, doom and gloom, and then I, you know, then I did not feel okay, or I would see another article about maybe a vaccine or treatments that were getting better, and then I would feel better. And I thought, that's interesting that my mood can be affected by like just an article or something I read. When I was feeling okay before I read the thing. So to Kevin, what you said, again, the sort of equanimity, not having to build a nest in your mind.
Yeah, it reminds me of a great story, and I just pulled it up here. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. "It is a terrible fight between two wolves. One is evil. He has anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego." He continued, "The other is good. He has joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside of you and every other person too." The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." So if we feed those positive things, those are the ones that are going to grow. So just to kind of round out this webinar here, some tools that can help you all. Apps are very powerful tools for kind of helping keep us on track and accountable, but also measuring our progress. Not that the amount of time or amount of times that you meditate is indicative of progress. Quantity isn't always quality, but apps can help. I personally use Insight Timer. It's free. It's nice. They have guided meditations as well as just a timer. And maybe I'll talk about that in a sec, the difference between guided and non-guided meditations. Headspace, they have like regimens, like programs that you go through as well. That's a paid app. Calm, I think Calm was also $1. I can't remember. And then Waking Up, I've got that highlighted. Rob reached out to Waking Up, and they have given all famous associates 1 month free of Waking Up. So I've not experienced Waking Up, but obviously it's a paid app, so it must be pretty good. When it comes to, sometimes people ask me, guided meditation versus non-guided, like what should I do or what's better? Again, a guided meditation, it's like one big long affirmation, right? So it's a powerful mind tool. It's awesome. At the end of the day, it's not the practice of meditation, of trying to still your mind, noticing that it's gone and coming back to the breath. To me, in my opinion, there's no substitute for that. Now, and granted, there are guided meditations that will maybe build in time for you to be still. But ultimately, I think the stillness is really the deepest, I guess, form of practice. But again, guideds are awesome. Would never tell anyone don't do a guided meditation. They're still very, very valuable. Another tool that I think is like a cheat code is called binaural hemisync. This stuff is all over Spotify. They've got a ton of stuff. Basically, in our brains, we have different types of brain waves, and I won't get into the different types, but binaural hemisync, the reason it's called hemisync is because you're actually synchronizing the hemispheres of your brain, the right brain and the left brain. And it's through sound waves that take you into different types of brain waves. Really, really cool. Fun to meditate to, run, exercise to. It's a nice brain tool. Final thoughts. With meditation, I think it's really, really important that it's not just you meditate and then you go on with the rest of your day. I think this quote really encapsulates it the most. What you feel in meditation, you must keep with you all the time. Too often people meditate half-heartedly as a matter of habit. And as soon as they're finished with the mechanics of meditation, they go back to their old state. You must plumb the depths of peace and joy in of meditation, and then hold on to the calm after effects. So it's not about going, I like how he used the word mechanical. It's not about going through the motions of sitting down, setting the timer, lighting the candle, whatever rituals, some people have. And then, you sit there, let your mind run wild, and then the timer goes off, and then you just go on with your day as you would if you didn't meditate. You're really not going to get any benefit of that. But really the key is to cultivate that peace. And then as you step off the meditation cushion or the seat, that you take that out into the world with you. That's ultimately the purpose. And it just reminded me of one other thing, because I said, when you get off the cushion or the seat, question that a lot of people have sometimes is, how should I meditate in terms of like my seating or my posture? Again, it's really whatever makes you comfortable, as long as your spine is as straight as it possibly can be. If you have discomfort, you're not going to be able to focus. So For me personally, like I sit in a chair when I meditate. I don't like sit on the ground with my legs crossed because I physically can't do that. My hips are too tight. So if it's sitting in a chair or sitting on a cushion or just sitting on the ground with your legs folded, it doesn't matter. What's important is that your posture is as straight as you can be and that you're comfortable. So any questions or other thoughts?
I do have a question about the breathing. Are you supposed to breathe in through your nose and out of your mouth, or just whatever you're most comfortable doing? What's the recommendation?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the answer I'll give you is you never want to be breathing in through your mouth and out through your mouth, or in through your mouth and out through your nose. I can't even imagine anyone would do that. But so for me, it's either in through your nose, out through the mouth, or in and out the nose.
What was the name of that app, and do we need a code to get that 1 month free trial?
Yeah, so that app is called Waking Up, and Rob is going to send out all that info.
I'm going to send an email with the instructions and the code right after this call.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say one thing about the guided meditation too, though. It's a great way to do it for beginners because it's a good walkthrough. It gives your mind a trail to follow rather than letting it run around all crazy, so that it's easy to start that way, and then you can bring it back down and work it yourself eventually for beginners. Yeah,
it's a great point. I almost like to call guided meditations. It's kind of like training wheels, and I think Greg, you described it really well. It's a nice guide. So thank you for that. That's awesome. What else?
Something I'll tell you guys is that I think with trying to like incorporate meditation into something new into your routine, habit stacking is really helpful. So, planning into your routine on top of something else you already do as part of your routine. So for me, it's after brushing my teeth. I know I brush my teeth. Okay, I'm going to do this next. Because when something's part of a routine, it comes naturally, right? You don't really have to think about it as hard. So it's a lot easier to incorporate into your day. So, I would recommend like trying to find a consistent time, place to do it. And yeah, like Kevin said, having like for him, it's a closet. For me, it's like a room, where I can close the door and turn off the lights and feel calm, because my dog's jumping on me. I'm not going to be able to focus, and it's going to be a lot harder. And the other thing I was going to say is, for me, yes, the meditation apps, I'm still a beginner at this. If you asked me like 3 years ago about meditation, I was like, that's weird. I don't know what that is. Now that I've kind of learned more about it and, realized the power, and that it's not just like some woo-woo thing. This has scientifically backed benefits, right? I started to try and figure it out and incorporate it in my routine, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, it really does give you that mental resilience that I think we can all benefit from in our daily lives. So I'm super excited for this challenge, especially because I want to become better at it. I want to get like these guys that are meditating an hour a day, because I think that's awesome. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Oh, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys like a little checklist thing that you can check off every day, just to kind of help hold yourself accountable, right? We're 85% more times likely to be successful if we're held accountable. So, write down how long you meditated for, check off the days, and there's like a line on the worksheet. So if you just want to write down a positive affirmation, how you're feeling, a thought, whatever benefits you, that's kind of what this little sheet is about. And just to kind of help you guide you through your journey this month. So I'm really excited for it.
I will echo that. I'm super excited. The Waking Up app really is fantastic. There's a practice portion that has a full introductory course that will take you through the whole month. And then there's a theory portion with some audios about how the human brain works and what can happen during meditation. So it's practice and information. It was designed by a neuroscientist, Sam Harris, I think. Useless fact, his mother is one of the founders of the show The Golden Girls, Susan Harris. But it's a great app. And I too, Kevin, I don't think I knew that. I meditate in the closet as well, in the dark in the closet. And I do it in the morning because when I do it at night, to what we were talking about earlier, I fall asleep. So I get up a little early while the house is so quiet, and I meditate in the morning in the dark.
Awesome. All right. Any other thoughts before we jump off?
Oh, one more thing. Make sure if you're participating in the challenge, I'll send out the link again, but make sure you sign up at the link so we can congratulate you when you finish. You can tell us how awesome and great you feel and all that jazz. So make sure you sign up just so we know. That's all.
Yeah, keep us updated. And Kevin or Caitlin and I have committed to beginning all of our wellness and leadership coaching sessions for the month of November with a mindful moment.
Yeah. So
the other thing that we had talked about maybe doing is also having like a time during the day, or even multiple times during the day, where we would have an open Zoom call like this, where maybe it's 5 minutes long if people wanted to meditate together during the day. So if you guys think that's a good idea, we can do that too.
I'm going to create, wait, let's see. I've never done this before. I'm going to try to create a poll really quick. All right. Guided.
I think you got to go off to the site and everything. It might take a minute.
Kevin, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
It may be kind of silly, but you're talking about the affirmations and the visualizations, which I try to do those on different things, but we're not supposed to try to do that while meditating because we're supposed to try to get our mind to stop. Is that correct? That we do those things separately, not during? Or am I missing?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So the first answer is whatever you want. But the second answer is, I think these things can absolutely, can be combined. So, maybe part of your meditation, like for example, a great way to start a meditation is with breathing exercises. It can kind of, ground you, connect you to your breath. And then maybe from there, maybe you want to do just some practicing stillness, right? And then maybe at some point you practice an affirmation or a visualization. You can really just mix and match and really just do kind of whatever you want.
Just stay off the hamster wheel.
I would say yes, stay off the hamster wheel.
Okay, fair
well,
enough.
No, I won't say stay off the hamster wheel. I would say when you notice when you notice your mind wants to get on the hamster wheel, just gently say, hey, just come back. All right, what else?
It looked like we had the vast majority say yes in the poll. It disappeared for me now, but.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got 13 for yay, only 3 for nay, so that's good. The other thing I was gonna, I can share results. So there you go. Does anyone have any thoughts on time of day? Who's gonna try and do that?
I was thinking maybe we just do it at like noon.
Okay.
And,
here we
it
go.
can just be a 5-minute appointment.
Revote. There we go. Morning, midday, evening. All right. Well, it looks like noonish is crushing it. So I dig that. Cool. Yeah, I think we briefly talked about this, but I think just like it's kind of called like a nudge, right? So like having something that kind of reminds you to do something. So if you have it on your calendar, whether it's every day or a few times a week, like meditate with us. Even if you don't show up to the Zoom meditation, it's like, oh, right, I need to do that. I'm going to go take a few minutes away from work, even if it's 2 minutes to go do this. It kind of helps make it easier for you to remember to do that habit. So I'm all about that.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of the day, and check in with Caitlin, Rob, me. We want to hear about how it's going for you and how things are. So let us know.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for
Take care,
coming.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.